Hello everybody, welcome back to Apple Gaming SE. So recently, and shout out to Mr. Mac Wright for showing us all how to do this, where you can record the performance of an iPhone or any other iOS device going back, I think, to iOS 16 in Xcode. So you can get a ton of great information, things like CPU utilization, things like frame rate, all just a great ton of great data. So what I decided to do, and I do this on my Polymatrix channel with Android phones because up to this point it's been a little bit easier to do, but now that I have this working in Xcode, I can do it here as well. I'm going to compare Death Stranding. I'm going to start with Death Stranding. We're going to do other games in other videos, but we're going to start with Death Stranding, the performance on the iPhone 15 Pro without active cooling, and then again with active cooling to see what kind of performance differences we get. So with that being said, we are going to just go ahead and we're just going to play here. I've got QuickTime pulled up so you can see the gameplay if you want to watch. We're going to set a 10-minute timer and we're going to see how it does here. We're going to start a recording, so we're going to set these going as quick as we can, hopefully all at the same time. So Death Stranding, as you can see, is already running. It's been running for 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes, but I've been trying to figure this all out. So my iPhone 15 Pro is nice and warm, a little difficult to hold. I wouldn't recommend doing this handheld. So as you can see, there's this on-screen controls. I am playing with a controller. That's how I intend to continue playing for the rest of this segment. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start recording in Xcode. And it looks like we have a fresh recording going. It takes a second. Sometimes it freezes up here. We're just going to let it run for a second. There we go. And thermal state is serious. Woo! Right out the gate. All right, so let's go ahead and start our 10-minute timer. And I'll have this up down here in the corner so you can watch the gameplay. All right, come on, guy, get up. And then, yeah, I won't be chattering the whole time. I'll let the game speak for itself, and we'll figure this out together because I've never played Death Stranding. So, appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you all in about 10 minutes.
Sam, this is Die Hartman. Your current objective is to extend the chiral network from here to Port Knot City. But don't think you can make a beeline straight for it. Signal won't carry that far. To cover the distance, we need to utilize knots. Think of it like tying ropes together to make a longer rope. The first of these knots is a Bridges Way station. Go ahead and take a look at the order. Deliver whatever they need, and connect the Cupid.
Sam, order summaries may contain information critical to your success. Make sure to review them before getting underway. Sam, now we've supplied you with some rope and a ladder for this run. They should help with the steeper inclines, and the ladder will also make a halfway decent bridge if you need to cross a river. Right now, I figure you're thinking about how you want to handle this order. We've supplied... They should help. Right now...
Order assigned. Beginning scan. Have a pleasant journey.
Sam, triple checked your loadout, I take it?
Have a pleasant journey.
Sam, you see that sign someone left over there? You can leave some of your own if you'd like. Messages, warnings, words of encouragement, whatever comes to mind. Sam, even the best porters have been known to lose their cargo. But you're better than the best. You've got what it takes to finish what they started. If you come across any abandoned shipments, consider taking them to their intended destination.
It's easier than you might think. See, all our packages are tagged with bridges. IDs for easy tracking. And your Odra deck is equipped with a scanner which might detect said IDs. Which is a roundabout way of saying, but that thing on your shoulder can help you locate mislaid shipments.
Okay, so that's about 10 minutes. I spent a lot of time in a menu there, so I don't know how accurate of a performance it's going to give us in terms of gameplay measurement wise. So I'm probably just going to let this run for a few more minutes just to give us a better idea of the performance of the game. So just bear with me for a few more minutes.
Sam, remember that prolonged exposure to timefall damages cargo containers. Don't stay out in the rain any longer than you have to.
Good work, Sam. I see you brought in some lost cargo. Feel free to submit it here for processing. If you come across any more while out on a run and don't think you can carry it to its destination, you can always put it in storage. It'll be safe and secure until another porter comes along to finish the job. Even if it has to pass through a dozen more hands before it arrives, you can rest easy knowing you did your part.
territory. The Death Stranding's to blame for all of this. The gazers, the fall of America, everything. It warped the world beyond recognition. Humanity had to scramble like rats fleeing a sinking ship. But there's nowhere else to go. There's no future living like this. If we're to survive, we need to find another way. A way to overcome the BTs, the Death Stranding, the whole damn mess.
All right, everybody. So that's about 10 minutes of solid game time. And we'll take a look at the graphs here. I'm just going to pause this. And we are going to go ahead and we'll just minimize it for now because we're going to check out how it's going to perform with active cooling here in a few minutes. So let's go ahead and pause this or stop it. And we can go all the way back checking out the performance. And I think this is probably, so if we look about right here, it's one nice thing. If we click on the graph, it'll actually take us to where we are in the actual frame counter. So this is an interesting, very interesting kind of result here that we're looking at. So device utilization, we're looking at GPU hardware utilization 8%, still 30 FPS. But there's some areas in this that are a little bit lower. Let's see, these are all looking pretty good right here. CPU load total. I would like to actually expand that out. Maybe I can look at doing that, looking at individual CPU cores and seeing how they perform. But if you kind of look at performance overall, here's a spot where it dropped to 22 FPS about 8.5 minutes in. This is a pretty bad stutter, down to 9 FPS. I think this is right as we were getting into the overworld map. Not the overworld, but like getting outside the city into the larger open world areas. And this is about where our 10-minute mark was, where I said we'd just go ahead and play for another 5 minutes. We played for a little more than 6. This right here, I think, was us transitioning to the pause menu, is what I think happened here when we dropped down to 14 FPS. But overall, gameplay-wise, we're staying pretty close to 30, 29, 30, 29, 30, 28, 27. So yeah, looking pretty good overall. It's pretty impressive when you think about what this system can do. Here we're at 92% utilization, however. But even when it comes down, the frame rate is still locked to 30. So Apple, or the developer of Death Stranding, was it Konami Industries? Konami Games? No, not Konami. The guy who does Metal Gear Solid. I'm forgetting now. Kojima, that's it. It's Kojima. I guess his studio decided that they're not going to try to push past 30 FPS. And this entire time, our thermal state was at Sirius. So it's very warm all the way through. Statistically speaking, looking at the graphics, average FPS 28.9, not bad at all. Max FPS was 41. I'm guessing that's in a menu somewhere. Minimum GPU utilization is 6%. Average is 72. Max was 100%. So, generally speaking, GPU is heavily utilized, but not utilized to its fullest. So I guess probably working with Apple, they decided that 30 FPS was going to be their lock. But 72% GPU utilization, pretty good. So we're going to slap a MagSafe cooler on here and see how it does. We're going to let it cool down for about 10-15 minutes, and then we're going to see how we do after that. So be back in a moment. Okay, everybody, welcome back. It's been a little more than 10 minutes, and I have had the MagSafe cooler on the back of the iPhone 15 Pro, and it is definitely cool to the touch. I gave it a little 6-second, 7-second run here just to see if the recording was working with the CPU profiler. It is, so I'm happy about that. We might be able to look at CPU performance as well a little bit here. But I might do a dedicated video for that instead of doing it here. This, we're looking at performance and thermals compared to passively cooled, which is basically the way the iPhone comes stock, and actively cooled with an external cooling device. So again, we'll leave gameplay footage up here, down here, through QuickTime, and we will have our charts running in the background to give you an idea of frame rate, performance, temperature, and general CPU usage. So we will start our 10-minute timer. We will back out of our map here, and away we go.
Remember, Sam, every parcel is a promise made to a person in need, and they're counting on you to deliver. try using the one we issued you?
Come on. Goddamn cottonmouth. God damn it. Scanning bridges ID. Verifying ID. Clear. Cargo verified. Thank you.
Yeah.
Delivering cargo.
Thank you. We've all been feeling the loss of Central Knot City. No one seemed to know what it meant for the organization, or the UCA, or us. The oxytocin will take the edge off, and that'll be a big help. Won't be long before we're back on track. You may have a look. Everything looks to be in good order. And soon our way station will be too, I hope. You're with the second team, right? Where are the others?
Dead. Caught in the void out.
No way. That one blast got them all? And what, they just sent you out on your own? I mean, if it was just a delivery, that'd be one thing. Porters come through from time to time, but... The second team was meant to bring the Cupid. They were gonna connect us up. 3 years we've been waiting for help. 3 years! And they sent us one guy who's... Shit. Tell me you brought more than the Oxy, at least.
I've got the Cupid.
You... Really? So it's true. They finally got it working. Well, then you just might be the answer to my prayers. So what are you waiting for? You put us on the goddamn grid.
Well, I feel terrible to interrupt the gameplay right there, right as it just started getting good. Wow, there's actually a little something to this game. So let's go ahead and stop, since we've had 10 good minutes of gameplay here. We'll go ahead and stop this recording so we can take a look back and see what we can see. So definitely the CPU cooler is made a huge difference. It's been nominal temperatures all the way through. Unfortunately, Apple doesn't give us any more information other than nominal, so that's somewhat disappointing. Strange moments where we're bumping up to 50-ish FPS, 49, 52, and it kind of throws the whole chart off, but generally speaking, let's take a look here. Statistics. Generally speaking, average FPS is right at 30. Max frames per second is 52. We see one jump up to 52. Let's get this out of the way. Max GPU utilization is 100%. Here we go. Average GPU utilization, 83.1%. So we're looking at about a 4% increase in average GPU utilization. So we're probably looking at, that would probably translate to overall slightly smoother frame rates. Now I know it went a little bit longer, but that's because I spent quite a few minutes in that first segment just looking through menus, and I don't really think that that counts. Or at least it doesn't do anything for our usable information. How about that? Not to say it doesn't count, but it's just not as useful. So there's one moment here where we dropped to 10 FPS. I'm not really sure what happened here. I think this is the first time we fired off our little sensor to give us a view of the terrain around us. And then right after that, we went to 36. So even though it's supposed to be locked at 30, we're getting just brief moments where it hits above that. And I'm thinking that's some kind of frame delivery prioritization issue. Because look here on our CPU usage, it goes up real high. Now this first row right here, this is CPU profiler. This is, oh no, don't freeze on me. Don't freeze on me. Okay, whew. So this is our CPU profiler. This kind of shows you overall CPU usage. If you are not familiar with Unix CPU utilization numbers, you can get above 100% because basically every 100% counts as full CPU usage per core. So in this situation, it's telling us that we're looking at 300, what was it, 300 something percent right here, 316%. So that means theoretically 3 of our CPU cores were at maximum performance. Now we look here, we've got 6 CPU cores labeled 0 through 5. If this is the same way that it is laid out, and given the performance down here, I believe that it is, if this is the same way that it's laid out in Android, ARM cores 4 and 5 are going to be your 2 big cores, and 0 through 3 are going to be your small cores. Here, actually, let me just shrink this up real quick. Come back over here. If you're not familiar, this is the diagram that Apple gives for the A17 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro Max. You have 2 big cores, and you have 4 little cores right through here, and you have 6 CPU cores. Now, we're not looking at the CPU cores on this video, but we're looking at CPU utilization because that helps determine frame rate consistency, because it's how regularly are your frames getting delivered based on how hard your CPUs are working. So we have interesting moments here where this is just purely based on Stranding. I really need to go play Zenless Zone Zero and Honkai Star Rail and compare the iPhone to the Android counterparts on this. But looking at performance here, CPU utilization on the little cores drops to be very low. I mean, we're talking sub 10% right through here. But the big cores are getting pretty heavily utilized, 50%, maybe more in some areas. But as the game goes on, see again, so right through here, this is a great example of it. See, the little cores are getting utilized evenly, but not too heavily, while the big cores then take over right about just before the 3-minute mark, 2 minutes, 45 seconds. The big CPU cores take over, and they stay pretty heavily engaged through the rest, through about 6 minutes. You notice here, Stranding, it's showing you what Stranding is utilizing it. Oh boy, that's a whole heck of a lot of data that I don't know how to read yet, so it's going to take some time to decipher that. So Stranding is definitely swapping back and forth between utilization on the little cores and the big cores. I wonder if we can zoom in. Can we zoom in on this graph? Yes, we can. Oh my goodness. Look at this. This is bonkers. Oh my gosh. Xcode is the best. Wow, I thought Taco Stats over on Android was great. No. This is way better. Wow, this is incredible. Very impressed by this. Good job, Apple. I'm not a developer, but I can read graphs. So yeah, we've got heavy CPU utilization. We have a brief pause here for about 44 seconds where the little cores are engaged. The big cores come back in. You'll notice that the big cores are actually not evenly engaged here, not 100% matched up. So that really goes to show you that iOS is very good. And this is where people talk about optimization with iOS. This is where it comes in. This kind of thing where you can hand off individual tasks to individual cores intelligently during the process runtime. What I have noticed, at least this seems to be the case with games on Android, an entire core cluster, so all of the little cores, in this case 0 through 3, they will all ramp up their frequency together, and then when they're not being utilized, they'll all go down together. Same thing with the big cores. So in this case, 2 big cores, 4 and 5, all of the big cores would go up together and they'll go down together. So you really don't know which CPU is utilizing which CPU core is being utilized in each cluster, because all of the frequencies go up and down uniformly. Very interesting indeed. Really does go to show you. Everybody talks about, oh, Apple doesn't optimize. They do. They give you the tools, and they give the developers the tools to optimize these systems very, very well. So again, big cores take a break here for just a brief moment. Little cores take over, and then the big cores are engaged again. You have about roughly equal utilization, 10, 15% or less, we'll say. Well, we had 20% there for just a hot second. 19, so 19. We'll say 20% or less utilization, kind of generally speaking. Just great. So temperature is nominal. This is a place that I think Apple could improve. I would like to see more than just nominal for the temperatures. GPU utilization. This is interesting. Wow. Look how much headroom you have in some areas on the GPU when it is actively cooled. 65% GPU utilization. We're still hitting 95% in a lot of areas. Look at this long stretch through here is 90 plus all the way through. And then you have a couple areas where it comes down. Like this is a good stretch right here, looking at the 815 to roughly 902 mark. You're looking at 50-ish percent or less, like here, right around 50% GPU utilization for a solid minute. Now this is during the cutscene, I think, here at the end. So going back through the bulk of the gameplay where you're actually in the open field, GPU is much more heavily engaged here. Notice the CPU is not. CPU utilization at just about 200%, just under 200%. If you look down here at the big little, you see the big cores are heavily engaged, the little cores are not. So again, back to Unix, the Unix CPU monitoring when it comes to percentages, macOS, iOS, their underpinnings are BSD. BSD shares a lot in common with Unix. In fact, if you go to the Open Foundation website, there are only 4 operating systems that have the 100% Unix 3.0 license or standard. They meet that standard. Apple is one of those 4 companies with macOS and iOS and iPadOS. So I imagine watchOS is the same, although I didn't see it on there last time I looked. Anyway, that's irrelevant. just going to show you lots of great information here. Definitely going to be doing more of these going forward. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode of Apple Gaming SE. We're definitely going to test out Wuthering Heights. Probably gonna have to break down and just download Zenless Zone Zero, even though I don't really like that game. I'm gonna have to put it on the iPhone and just see how it's utilized in terms of its performance, CPU cores, GPU performance, so on and so forth. So thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe if you have not already, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode of Apple Gaming SE. Take care now. Bye-bye.